things continue to evolve and improve. If that happens for 1 million years, for 5 million years, for 10 million years, we've had animals on this planet that are older than that, right? What if a life form that became super intelligent evolved to the point where it had absolute control over everything? That would be a god.
Yeah.
And that would be a real god. That would be something that like science could put their hat on. They could go, okay, well, let's call that God. Because if there's an intelligent life form that literally creates everything, that is what God does.
Yeah.
And if God is letting children starve, if God is letting horrible crimes take place and the worst shit that we see in all of the society, if that's true, and if that is just because what a God is something that just creates things, and a God sets these processes in place, and it gives you a higher good to reach for, and then the ultimate goal is that species becomes like gods. If they just kept going, if they didn't kill each other and they didn't steal and they treated each other well and they evolved better to figure out how to manage that, and then all work together to improve upon this technological, biological synergy that is obviously taking place, and it gets to the point where this creature, this thing that they've created out of themselves and their own creations, is more powerful than anything we could ever imagine. That literally could be like a Dr. Manhattan type deal.
That question is interesting, even if you take it to yourself. So I think it's really interesting that, and tell me if you agree with this, but like I always feel like as a human being, you have in your mind's eye almost a nostalgia or an understanding that of when you're not doing what you're supposed to do.
You can feel it.
And not only that, like it's almost like the best version of myself, if I even dare to look at it, is in the other room clearing its throat. And I know what I have to do to get there, but most people are not interested. But when we see people who, like a guy, like let's say, I don't know, Ben Askren or something, who was able to put himself through enough pain to become that good a wrestler, just as an example, or you see some guy or whatever, what we're admiring, I think, is not so much the skill, but what it took to get there.
The character.
The character.
Yeah.
The ability. You were talking about wrestlers. And there's something about wrestlers, high-level wrestlers, because you know that you're not getting a lot of glory, but when you see an NCAA champ or whatever, you know what they had to do to get there.
The sacrifices,
the sacrifice, the ability to talk to themselves the right way, to keep grinding and all that stuff. You see somebody who's very, very creative, Elon Musk. Everybody's saying you can't do this, you can't do this. He's going fuck off, and he keeps doing it. And I think there's something very interesting about, to me, that's the idea behind truth and God. Like the notion that if I really pay attention to the voice that's telling me to conquer my inner bitch, as you always say, which I wish I'd come up with, it'd be a great fucking t-shirt. But that idea, why is that there? And why do we know every time we're eating cake or we're fucking up? We know we're fucking up.
It's not the right thing to do.
Yeah, why is it that there's this sort of dull tug? There's always this tug pushing me. And the only way to avoid not becoming that is create a bunch of fucking noise. A bunch of noise.
That's why I don't think we're in a simulation.
Well, within it may be, but I just think that
when
for me,
right
I always
that
think
could be a part of it.
I think
certainly be a part of it all.
Yeah, and I think the ultimate.
Interesting.
For me, it makes me feel good about the universe. It makes me feel like there is a benevolent end to this.
Simulation makes me want to.
I think the reason why we all want to work together, and it's better to be kind, to be a good person, is because when things work together, more things get done. There's a thing about human beings that we are creating newer and better things, always, constantly.
To what end?
That's the thing.
Understanding?
This is what I'm talking about before. When I'm talking about the evolution of the creature becoming godlike, I think it happens with technology. And I think technology gets introduced into the human biology, and it radically accelerates our ability to think and solve problems and come up with new solutions and then invent newer and crazier innovations.
But that's tool using. But that might be.
It's not tool using. It's the fabric of space and time. It's finding out what the fuck dark matter is, harnessing it, creating nuclear fusion in a sustainable way where they never have to worry about ever having any pollutants, have a zero carbon atmosphere.
I'm still asking you, though, I wonder at times to what end is that?
I think we become a thing that's not us. I think we become like a fucking alien.
Transhuman or something.
I think that's coming. And I don't think that's going to be that far away, whether it's 100 years or 200 years.
Did you hear when they record the sound that a black hole makes?
Yeah, that was scary.
No.
Terrifying.
Terrifying.
Does it sound like the
'Cause it
Aztec
eats
death whistle?
everything. It eats
Yeah, it
everything.
does. That does. That's exactly what it sounds
That's
like.
what. Imagine
Spot
I
on.
gotta
if
pee
you're
out of my huge dick.
Imagine if you're a neighboring planet and you hear that in the distance.
Oh my God.
You're just getting slowly sucked into the black hole.
Eddie,
and
I
you can
can't believe you
listen.
didn't jump in on this fucking simulation, dude. You think we're in a simulation?
I just need to see the evidence. I'm
Yeah,
open
there's-
to
they
it.
don't
Where's
have-
the evidence?
there's
I'm
none.
I'm
Yeah.
open to
It's
it.
all theory.
I'm open
Yeah, it's
to
all
it.
theory.
Like, where's it at? It's like,
Yeah,
is
I'm
there
open
any
to
kind
it.
of evidence?
I'm with Eddie. I'm open to it, but I'm not sold.
I'm not sold on it, but it might be how the universe works. The whole thing might be a simulation. Everything that you see, it might have always been that way. It might be where we move in a process, and the way I always equate it is to like a caterpillar. A caterpillar creates a cocoon. It doesn't know it's going to become a butterfly. It doesn't know what the fuck it's doing. It just does it. That's what it does. And I think that's what we do. We make better and better shit. And at this point, I think we're at the point in the human animal has evolved from being a caveman to being a person who lives in 2022 who's totally attached to your iPhone. We're real close. We're real close. And you keep following it, it's going to go to a point where those things are going to be inside of us because they improve us. They make everything better. They're going to fix your eyesight. They're going to fix your body. People with spinal cord injuries are going to be able to walk again, and that's going to be the door. And that's going to open it up to people that are going to use it to make more money.
For sure.
Imagine if there's a thing that you could plug into your head, and all of a sudden you're 150, 250% smarter than you are, and you have instantaneous access to information on the internet, and you start making financial decisions that are like ridiculous in terms of how effective you are compared to everybody else that's doing it. You figure out how to control, and then only the people that have that technology will be able to compete.
The elite.